Pakistan establishment was given a 2-week deadline to release the deposed Prime Minister Imran Khan from prison, and the stakes are rising, with police storming the parliament and arresting politicians connected to his party yesterday. People there are citing Bangladesh's recent overthrow of the ruling dynasty after rebellion following violent crackdowns, so the temperature is rising. On the weekend, the country saw the first huge demonstration by Imran Khan's PTI party since the disputed elections in February, that they were banned from running in as a party but ended up winning most of the seats as independents anyway, which we spoke about back then. Despite a near media blackout, social media videos which trickled out since the event because phone signals were turned off show seas and oceans of people pouring into the capital from all over the country, demanding his release. The ruling establishment did apparently everything they could to stop this happening. They even quickly passed a law the week before to regulate and ban public gatherings in the capital, which was condemned by rights groups like Amnesty International. They ended up putting something like 40 different restrictions in place for the protests that they couldn't stop in the end. From noise limits to time restrictions, they even placed massive shipping containers full of mud blocking major highways into the capital. Your Urdu doesn't need to be great to understand the newly coined Containeristan that critics came up with to describe the spectacle. Anyway, it was during this demonstration that this guy delivered a fiery speech where he gave a deadline to release Imran Khan from prison. Who is he? His name is Ali Amir Gandapur, and he is the Chief Minister of KP province, which is governed by Imran Khan's PTI party, and some describe him as Imran Khan's right-hand man. In his speech, he invoked the J word in terms of speaking truth to power, standing firm in the face of injustice, and so forth. He even said that they are ready to fight and die for their leader and their people, and what he called the constitutional and democratic integrity of the whole country, stirring people up against the senior leadership of the military that they accused of disgracing the country's institutions and meddling in politics at the behest of foreign powers, namely Washington. And that's when he issued his ultimatum.
और एक डेडलाइन भी दे रहा हूं, पाकिस्तानियों सुन लो, 1 से 2 हफ्ते में कानूनी तौर पर इमरान खान रिहा ना हुआ तो खुदा की कसम हम इमरान खान को फिर खुद रिहा करेंगे। तैयार हो? मैं आपको लीड करूंगा, पहली गोली मैं खाऊंगा, आगे मैं हूंगा, पीछे नहीं हटना। अगर अब हम पीछे हटे तो न दोबारा ऐसा मौका मिलेगा, न दोबारा ऐसा लीडर मिलेगा, न दोबारा ऐसी कौम मिलेगी, न दोबारा ऐसा जज्बा मिलेगा।
Since the major cases that were pinned on Imran Khan were either dismissed or he was granted bail and things like that, they're arguing that there's no excuse to keep him in prison, especially since the judiciary's summer recess has concluded this week. He also said that they would be marching to Lahore for the next demonstration of power, which is in the Punjab province run by a different rival political party. He threatened that if anyone tries to stop them, they will come in force and make the ruling establishment forget what has just happened in Bangladesh, referring to the removal of the ruling dynasty there. And everyone's kind of gone crazy. Gandapur went missing for several hours and then turned up, doubling down on his threat. Masked police allegedly stormed the parliament building next day, arresting top PTI leaders and influentials. But it's only led to them doubling down and calling for weekly protests and strikes all across the country. The remaining PTI legislators have been delivering fiery speeches in their National Assembly, their version of parliament, saying that they have no democracy in the country right now, only an undeclared martial law, a phrase which has stuck and caught momentum across social media.
अफसोस है कल रात हिंदुस्तान से नहीं, इस्राइल से नहीं, अमेरिका से नहीं, मेरे अपने वतन के इदारों के कुछ लोग, कौन थे वो लोग? वो नकाब पोश कौन थे जो पाकिस्तान के अवाम में घुस गए और यहाँ से हमारे लोगों को उठा के ले गए? ये जमहूरियत पे हमला है, ये पाकिस्तान पे हमला है, ये पाकिस्तान के आईन पे हमला है।
See? Fiery. Basically, tensions appear to be reaching a boiling point, particularly with all of the language of fighting and dying for the cause and reference to Bangladesh's popular uprising, which itself was after bloodshed of innocent protesters demanding their rights. It looks like things are going to get worse before they get better. May Allah protect this part of the Ummah and guide it. While I always try to remain neutral as much as I can in domestic politics in countries I don't even live in, since there's such a drama right now over there and the corruption is so obvious sometimes, it always comes across as you're supporting one side, i.e. the victims, when simply reporting what's happening. This is not about Imran Khan or PTI really. The people of Pakistan should be able to choose who rules them and what kinds of policies that they're subjected to. This is about that will of those people versus the will of undemocratic forces that want to impose foreign policy interests of other powers onto them. We look at this from an ummatic perspective. We want the empowerment of all the different parts of the ummah to get out from under the boot of neocolonialism. We want strong, functioning Muslim countries that can act independently and shake off the yoke of subjugation to other powers, whether that be US, Russia or China. Unfortunately, the army as an institution is a relic of British imperial control, and while it's full of sincere people that want to do things like protect their Muslim brothers and sisters, it's still obviously steered in some respects by people with different interests, who sometimes tell soldiers to turn their guns against their fellow brothers and sisters. But that is eventually doomed to backfire, since there's only a limited amount of people you can arrest or tell your soldiers to kill before they start disobeying orders. The establishment needs to realize that it can either keep trying to suppress critics in the short term, or it can just accept the tedium of democracy, of letting people protest, march, run in elections and so forth. There's only so much you can hold down a popular movement, and it's tough to maintain control on behalf of powers that are having their own crises elsewhere, especially if the people have had enough and they're willing to sacrifice themselves for this cause. Pakistan is not a poor country. It is full of natural resources, but it requires institutions to be transparent and accountable to the people and work in their interests. And that's a long, boring process, but it can take a country to staggering heights. Just yesterday I came across news that they discovered potentially the world's 4th largest oil and gas reserve. Add to that gold mines, minerals, and the sheer human capital. Its challenge is not resources, but management of those resources, and freedom from foreign control, like so many other places. That's right, the dreaded D word. Some people might have what Sheikh Haytham dubbed democracy phobia, when they hear people calling for increasing democracy of institutions and governments here and there. Click here to find out why that shouldn't be something that Muslims should fear, but champion.